I honestly can't believe it. I can't believe that this guy's a real guy. I love it so much. You know, people always say to me, how do you have so much content to react to? It's because of people like this. Hey bitch, and welcome back to another video of me talking about people I hate, especially today.
Point up to the height of a left, point, cluck. Come on, get in there! What's going on?
You knew who it was before you even clicked on this video. We know how I feel already. It's been a while though. I mean, it's been a long time since I've made a video talking about good old Clinton.
Don't turn your butt towards me. One good whack is better than 1,000 little taps.
What's up, Clinton? It's been a while. I feel like Clinton Anderson reacting to one of his videos is like finding that weird guy that you never liked and always knew that there was something wrong with, that you maybe thought was at one point a serial killer, and then you just run into him later on in life and you're like, wow, man, you're still around, like, you're not in jail yet, you know? That's kind of how I feel about Clinton. It's like, wow, you know, you're still training horses, nobody's slapped you with any animal cruelty charges at this point. That's crazy, dude. That's, wow.
There! They're right there!
Anyway, though, before we get into today's video, I have a huge announcement for you guys, and that is I have officially partnered with my all-time favorite jewelry company, Louisa. You guys know I've been working with them for years, and I finally have my own collection page on analuisa.com. I'm so excited. I'm actually wearing some of my collection, ignore my nails, but I have so many pieces that are available on my collection page, which you guys can click my link down below to go check it out. I'm pretty sure they also have a buy one, get one sale going on at the moment. If you don't know anything about Ana Luisa, let me inform you. Ana Luisa is not only the best, but also the fastest growing jewelry brand in the United States. Literally, they have every piece imaginable, and their entire website, all of their jewelry is just so beautiful. I've never been disappointed. As you guys know, every single piece of jewelry that I own is Ana Luisa. I'm not kidding. I mean, you guys know this because I've done so many sponsorships. My whole jewelry box is just Ana Luisa jewelry. And let me tell you, this jewelry never wears. I swear to God, I love it so much because it never wears. It looks amazing. This ring that I have on my thumb, I've literally had this ring for probably 2 or 3 years now. Not only does Ana Luisa have every single piece of jewelry you could ever want that is just the highest quality jewelry and super affordable for everybody, but they're also carbon neutral and sustainable. That's something that I value so much about this brand, is their commitment to the environment and the people who work for them. So I know that you guys want to support me, and I know that you guys all love some good jewelry, so definitely check out my collection page. I did so much work. This has been in the works for months, me designing my collection page, so please go check it out. I love you guys. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa Jewelry. Again, that link is going to be the first link in the description below. Love you. Let's get into the video.
Is there a lot of crack going around the neighborhood? Because both these people are on it. Let's get going, mate.
It's not that Clinton Anderson hasn't been problematic over the last few years. It's just that I didn't care. Every time somebody sent me a Clinton Anderson video, I literally would just immediately put it in the trash because I didn't care. I was like, you know what? This guy's like 70. He's never gonna change. If I had to guess what Clinton Anderson, because I know he knows who I am and I know he's watched my videos. So you know what? If I had to guess what Clinton Anderson thinks of me, he probably thinks I'm just some wacky tree hugger, which is okay because I think that he's literally borderline psychotic and crazy and an animal abuser. So I guess him thinking that of me is not as low as what I think of him.
So straight away, I'm going to ask his feet to move. Point, cluck. Move those feet. When I say move, you better move now.
All of his training is not only stolen from other trainers that are good trainers and reputable, but it's just bad. I mean, it's just bad training. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even know why anybody follows this crap. Just the way that he talks about horse behavior is wrong. Like, I look back on some of my videos that I made reacting to Clinton Anderson years ago when I was just a dumb kid, and I, honest to God, looked back on some of those videos and was like, yeah, sure, maybe could I be wrong about animal behavior because I just wasn't very knowledgeable at the time? Sure, but was I? No, which is actually crazy because I kind of thought that maybe I was just being dramatic in my last videos years ago talking about Clinton. But then when I rewatched them as an adult who now is in the process of getting my DVM, I honestly look back and I'm even more horrified by Clinton Anderson's training than I was at the time when I was just some dumb kid who didn't know anything about what I was talking about. I recently came across a new video he posted just a couple weeks ago, and it's called Problem Horse Training. For some reason, the YouTube algorithm was like, girl, I'm going to put this in your feed. And I shit you not, I watched the first 20 seconds of this video and I had to exit the video. And I was like, I smell content. It's amazing. Let's watch it together, shall we?
A lot of people like to ask me lots of questions about individual problems. My horse bites me, or my horse kicks me, or can't catch my horse, or he won't stand still for the farrier, or he rears, or he jigs on the trail. And I understand people's concern. These are legitimate problems for them, their horse, their safety, well-being, etc. And one of the hardest things that I've had to try to get across to people in the horse industry that follow my method or try to follow my method is that all of those things are really just symptoms of a cause. Every problem you could ever tell me either comes from a lack of respect or fear. And on the odd occasion, maybe both. But typically it's either disrespectfulness or fearfulness.
So you see what I mean? I honestly can't believe it. I can't believe that this guy's a real guy. I love it so much. You know, people always say to me, how do you have so much content to react to? It's because of people like this. So Clinton believes that the only two problems that a horse ever has is fear or a lack of respect. So a lack of training would not be a cause. Medical issues would not be a cause. Abuse, well, I guess that might fall into fear. There's so many problems with just the way that he sees and views horse behavior, which is the reason why his methods are such garbage. You should never take training advice from somebody who doesn't understand the basics of horse behavior. Honestly, the longer I've been in school, the more that I've realized that there's actually a myriad of issues, behavioral issues, that comes along with almost every single medical diagnosis. A lot of the time, I would even say more than 50% of the time, when I see a horse that has a behavioral problem, more than 50% of the time, it's medically related.
We've been conditioned that many behaviours exhibited by ridden horses are normal for horses, but in fact, they're not. They're often a reflection of underlying musculoskeletal pain. And if we resolve that musculoskeletal pain, those behaviours will disappear. I do think we have a problem with the horse industry as a whole. It's rather slow to embrace change.
Sue spends most of her time and energy educating the horse world that what many people consider bad horse behavior, such as pinning ears, bucking, rearing, or simply being lazy, could be due to pain.
Let me give you an example. So we had a girl at my barn who had this 7-year-old thoroughbred who was off the track, and she really wanted to start her, but she was very badly behaved. She would try to bite people. She would try to kick people. Nobody could saddle her. And one day, some guy came to our barn and just wanted to beat her to a pulp because he said she was just being disrespectful and she was just being mean and she just didn't respect anybody and blah, blah, blah. Kind of like Clinton Anderson's way of viewing horses, okay? And I said to her, no, let's load your horse up into my trailer. I'll drive you down the street to my vet, and what do you know? The horse went into the vet's office. He ended up figuring out that she had some pretty severe pain on her back and on her sides where her flank is. So he wanted to do an intravaginal ultrasound. So when he did that, he discovered that she had massive tumors surrounding both of her ovaries. And it was so painful for her that when she was having the intravaginal ultrasound performed, she actually had to end up being sedated because she almost fell down. Her legs were quivering. She almost gave out her legs and just fell over because of how painful it was. And once we found that out, she ended up having the surgery to have both of her ovaries removed where they cut into the flanks on both sides. 6 months later, she's literally one of the best horses ever. Like, I swear to God, this girl rides her and does pretty much anything on her now. She doesn't have any behavioral problems. I think she does jumping with her now. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Just by the start of this video, it just makes me laugh because Clinton doesn't view horses as living beings. He just views them as property, which is very apparent because he's like, oh, if your horse is behaving badly, he's either fearful or it's a lack of respect. What?
Let me give you an example. My horse bites me. Is biting a problem? Sure, it's a problem. But he's really biting you because he has a lack of respect. Once you get the horse respectful, moving his feet forwards, backwards, left and right, he won't want to bite you anymore. So is biting the problem or lack of respect the problem? In my opinion, the lack of respect is why the biting is showing up.
Okay, I love how he uses the most severe circumstance that would obviously be a lack of respect issue, because biting is almost always done when a horse is like fearful and abused and is biting you in self-defense, or, you know, it could be a lack of respect. Like they just don't like you. They've always been a solitary horse, or maybe it's a stallion that's never had manners instilled into his training. So I love how he immediately goes for the most dramatic example to prove his point. It's just funny to me because he's like the exact type of guy who would be like, no, I believe this. And then he goes and cherry picks data to back his point on Google instead of actually looking at all of the data. Sure, could biting be strictly a behavioral problem where the horse just doesn't respect you? I mean, sure. Horses communicate through body language. If a horse is biting you, I'd be willing to bet that the horse is either afraid of you and it's a fight or flight response, or they just don't like you and they're telling you to get out of their space because they're higher than you. That could definitely be true. It could also be true, though, that the horse just has issues. And again, this goes into a lack of training. You can't necessarily blame a horse for being the way that they are, because it's your job as a rider, as an equestrian, to train your horse to make sure that your horse is at the level that you need them to be at and not set your horse up for failure. The biggest problem with Clinton is when horses come to him, he immediately blames the horse and not the owner. And he also immediately just starts disciplining these horses really harsh when they just don't know any better. You know, you can't blame the fat kid for being overweight when their entire life, their mom and dad have been giving them chocolate chip cookies whenever they ask. Do you get what I'm saying? So he blames horses for the way that their owners have taught them to be, which again is Clinton setting his horses and his training up to fail.
Okay. Another example might be my horse bucks with the saddle, Clinton. Every time I saddle him up, he bucks with the saddle. Well, he's bucking with the saddle because he feels fear around the saddle. He feels trapped and claustrophobic around his belly. So when we get him desensitized to the front and back cinch and desensitize him to wearing the saddle, that fear disappears.
This is not, no. I mean, it amazes me that this guy is actually considered a professional trainer. This is not how to desensitize a horse to a saddle. Please do not ever throw a saddle on a horse and put him in a round pen and let them just run around. Like, that is not, if you are doing that and that's your horse's reaction because your horse has never had a saddle on, you are moving way too fast and you're setting your horse up to fail. You're putting them in a scary situation where they don't know how to react or behave because they don't know what's on them. And often When you see horses react that way, it's because they've literally never had a saddle on ever before. And just putting a saddle on your horse and cinching it up and letting them go run around like crazy is not training. You're not teaching the horse anything. You're just flooding them. You're putting them in a situation where they're just going to continue to freak out and hyper stress until they finally calm down because they're just exhausted and tired, which is flooding. Flooding is not training, and that's one of Clinton Anderson's main methods is flooding. He thinks that by just wearing a horse down that he's teaching these horses. No, you're not. You're just abusing them. Flooding is an emotional way, like a mental way of abusing a horse. Not to mention that a lot of horses, just like the horse that I just mentioned, have a negative reaction to a saddle or to weight on their back for a myriad of different medical reasons. On top of the saddle could be too small and could be pinching. It could be ill-fitted in some way.
It's always difficult to remove all pain, particularly when you have a saddle that doesn't fit ideally, which can have a substantial effect.
I mean, the fact that this guy thinks that training is just so black and white blows my mind. Like, it's not.
Once we get rid of the fear of the saddle, he no longer wants to buck with the saddle. So bucking disappears. So is bucking the problem or fear the problem? In that case, I'd say it's the fear's the problem. Every once in a while, you'll come across a horse that is disrespectful and fearful all in the same combination. It's rare, but it does happen. My method is all about getting the horse to be respectful. We do that by moving his feet forwards, backwards, left and right. Getting rid of the horse's fear. We do that by desensitizing the horse to us and our tools.
His saddle doesn't even fit, you guys. Why does anybody take their horses to this guy? He doesn't even ride in properly fitted tack, dude. It's honestly unbelievable.
When people want to address individual problems, I keep trying to tell them just address the method. Start the method, period. When you start the method, your horse will rat himself out. If it's lack of respect, why the problem's there, you'll fix it by moving his feet forwards, backwards, left and right. If his issues are coming from fear-based problems, once you desensitize him and get the fear out of him, with you and your tools, stick, rope, string, okay, plastic bag, those problems will disappear.
Everything's always the horse's fault. Have you guys noticed this? You know, there's a huge contrast between a reputable trainer like Buck Brenneman, who regularly talks about how it's always a person problem and it's rarely ever a horse problem, versus trainers like Clinton Anderson, where everything is always the horse's fault. Horses are just tools and machinery that you can do with however you please. And also, he just repeats himself. If you guys notice, he just talks in a circle. He's just saying the same things over again. Oh, move your horse's feet front, right, left, and center. Like, your horse needs to move to respect you. Like, what? I don't need to put my horse in a round pen and tell him to go run around for him to respect me. Like, that's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I get the concept about the higher horse always makes the other horses move, and that's a form of respect. But guess what? I'm not a fucking horse, okay? My horse respects me for who I am and the training that I've instilled in him. And I wouldn't need to run after my horse with a whip and get him to run and move his feet in order for my horse to respect me and have boundaries. Why? Because I trained him properly.
Every branch of this tree is a problem. Ready? Bucking, rearing, biting, spooking, won't stand still for the farrier, can't give him a vaccination, cribs, won't trailer load, weaves in the trailer.
Cribbing is a lot of the time a medical issue, also stress-related issue. Same thing with a couple of the other issues that he's just stated. Also, most people don't know how to give vaccinations properly. I've seen a lot of horses that are hesitant to getting vaccines. And the biggest reason is because people take way too much time and they'll pull out the needle and they take forever to prick their horse and they do it really slowly, which causes pain and it's uncomfortable. So yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. This is a human problem. Most horses won't react to a vaccine if you do it quickly. So if they're reacting to you, it's because it hurts and you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Every branch on this tree is a problem. But if you just chop off the branch, eventually the branch will grow back again. The best way to get every branch on this tree to fall off and be dead forever? It's killed the root system of the tree. When you kill the tree root system, all those branches will die and fall off that tree. That's what I kind of think the down under horsemanship method is. The good news is you don't have to be too smart, because if you just follow the method, it will actually fix itself.
We know you don't have to be too smart, okay? Because clearly you've made it this far in your life with your level of intelligence. So we know, Clinton, we know, we're aware. Okay, honestly, his whole method is just flooding. I mean, I literally hate his training so much because it's not even training, it's just flooding. And he keeps talking about you need to find the root of the problem. Guess what? Most of the time, the root of the problem is the person riding the horse, or it's medically related. It's either a lack of training, which would be the person riding the horse's problem, or it would be medically related, which isn't the horse's fault.
The horse will rat itself out. The horse will end up fixing itself if you'll just follow through each of the exercises. And I know I sound like a broken record, but it's something that I want people to really understand, is that if you'll just go back and start from the beginning and follow the method step by step, your horse's problems will disappear. You'll be more successful with your horse. You'll have more confidence with your horse. Your horse will be more confident with you. It's really as simple as it gets. Just follow the method.
Everything he says just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, it really does. It's actually really sad to listen to this grown man who has a huge army of crazy people that follow him and trust the method, who really truly believe that this guy knows what he's talking about. And it could not be more blatantly wrong or apparent that not only is he full of shit because he just says the same thing over and over again, but he's also just bad at training. I could literally hold a training clinic tomorrow, and any one of you could bring out your most problematic horse. I guarantee you, I could throw that horse into a round pen, and after 5 or 6 hours of running that horse to death, that horse with no training prior would accept a saddle, would accept a rider. A horse that's medically damaged, a horse that has no training, a horse that's brand new to riding, a horse with behavioral problems, they would all respond positively to that because of flooding, because the horse literally has no energy left in them to put up a fight anymore. So they'll just accept whatever they can so you don't make them keep running around for hours and hours. Does that make my training in that circumstance good? No. That just means that I wore a horse down until they were no longer willing to fight back. And he talks about permanently resolving issues by killing the roots of the tree. You're not doing that by flooding horses. You think that you are by beating down these horses, but in reality, you're the person cutting the branches off and just letting the branches grow back time and time again. And you know why I know this? Because there's been so many people who have used Clinton Anderson's training methods who end up having horses that still have serious issues years and years and years down the road. God love you, Clinton. Giving me content to react to years and years down the road. Love it. I love it so much. All right, guys, that's basically all I had for today's video. Don't forget to check out Anna Louisa. My whole collection with them is live now. So that, again, is going to be the first link below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Patreon. I post 1 video a week, which is around 4 a month. You could also subscribe on YouTube members. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.